Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. So my name is Ziauddin Yousafzai, and as Tanya introduced me, I'm Malala's father. Once upon a time, she was my daughter, and now I'm her father. It goes well. Thank you. The theme which has been given to me is the importance of education for girls, women, and men's role. How men can play their role to educate girls and to empower. We, as a child, you and all of us, we hear knowledge is power, education is power, knowledge is light, education is light. But when I stand here, in whatever I say, I believe in power of education. And I tell it from my personal experience. And I believe in education because what I am myself is because of my education. When I say myself, it doesn't mean that I have been education at Tashi or I am UN advisor for global education. When I say what I am as a person, what I am as a person, what I am as a human being, what I am as an individual, I am that person because of the education which I have received. And when I see myself here in Cambridge, it's a big honor. Thank you so much for inviting me. But right now, while sitting there, I was thinking of the small village school, which was, of the small village school, which was built by the wali of Swat. Pakistan, Swat Valley, Swat state was a separate state till 1969. And if our king and if our wali had not built that school, and for some days and for some weeks, I went to school and I received my education under a big maple tree. And those were the most beautiful days of my school. If I had not been to that school, I would have been standing here in front of you. But there is the other side of the story. I was born in a family of 5 sisters, and I had an older brother. And this small village, so my parents, my father and my mother, they were very excited and they were very much interested in boys' education. So my older brother, who was the oldest in family, he was sent to school and he did his GSS and then he became a teacher. And then 5 sisters and then me. So none of my sisters went to school. And it had 2 reasons. Number 1, there was not a nearby girls' school. And number 2, sending girls to school was not a norm. It was not a social norm to send a girl to school. Rather, the social norm was the social norm, and the social tradition was not to send a girl to school. And none of my sisters they never saw a classroom. And at that very time when I was in school, and my mother, she believed in education for me, but not for her daughters. I remember that how at midnight she used to take care of me because we had no electricity. And I used to study in the light of a lantern. And she was very caring about me that lest I not burn myself. And one night I barely slept. She knocked at the door because the lantern was almost upside down. So my mother was very much interested and very much excited about my education. But she took it for granted that if she has not got education, no problem. If 5 of her daughters are not going to school, no problem. Because they are not supposed to go to school. And this beautiful lady here told me, she's my wife. She's my wife, and I must tell you that I was a very romantic boy. Very romantic, extremely, at that age. So, I never saw a girl in my classroom with me. The only women and the only girls I knew were my sisters. And then distant cousins. So she was the first person who used to come to our aunt's house, and she was a great fond of education. She was a great fond of education. And I had accomplished that my nose is very big, I'm dark in color, I'm not a handsome boy. But she started loving me. And she loved me because I was a smart boy of my school. I was a brilliant boy of my school. I knew myself, but people thought that I am brilliant. And that was, so I want to tell you that when she went to school for a few weeks, her brother and father, they got her admitted in the school, and she found herself all alone in the school, and then she got home because her cousins and other of her age girls, they were playing in the fields and the streets. And she said that she was a very smart girl and she was the best in the class. But she went back and she said that she sold her books. And nobody asked that, where are her books? Why is she not going to school? Because it was not a serious thing for the family to send a girl to school or not. So that's why, as she didn't get education, she wanted somebody who is educated. So I'm telling her story just to tell you, to share with you that how girls are thirsty and hungry to have an education. So she chose me because I was smart and educated boy. And later on in my life, when we see the power of education, our problem, but I must want to make one thing very clear. When I tell my story, I tell my story. This is very much important. I don't tell the story of the big cities of Pakistan. We have brilliant girls who are like Alia is here, Tania and Noor are here, and many other Pakistani girls are here who are in Cambridge and Oxford. But most of these girls and ladies, they are from the big towns, are from the villa families. When I tell my story, I tell the story of the rural areas of Pakistan, of the uphill mountains of Pakistan, where girls' education is not the norm of the society, where patriarchy stopped them, where men's rule and men's domination don't let them to be in school. So, like growing up in that family, later on, when I married Torpeke, and we started a life together. I married her because she was beautiful, but when we started living together, I knew, wow, she's so smart, so intelligent. And why did we spoil such a talent? She's not spoiled, she's a great mother. But I mean that had she received the education, and girls like her in Pakistan, in the Balochistan, in Fatah, in the northwest of Pakistan, there's a huge population, millions of girls. If they are sent to school, our whole country will change. Because I always challenge people that you can't give an example of a single nation, of a single country on this earth, on this planet, who have held back half of their population and moved forward. You can't give a single example in the west or east or north or west, anywhere. That you say, oh, this nation, they have kept half of their women, half of their population, their women population inside the houses. They have not let them to be educated. They have not let them to be socially, to be the part of their social and economic and political life, and they have still moved forward. It simply can't happen. So I had this desire that if I am a father, the first thing I will do, I will educate my daughter. And I was thinking that what my father could not give to his daughters, at least I will give to my daughter. And I remember that when Malala was born, and that morning, I remember, believe me, that was the most beautiful morning of my life. It was dawn time, and when I went to her bed, she was there, and Malala's eyes were open and was shining like a star. And I felt the most blessed man on earth that morning, that I am the father of her daughter. And a few weeks afterwards, my cousin brought me a family tree of our tribe. And he just presented that family tree to me, like, we have distributed these family trees to the family members, like, this is for you. And when I look at the family tree, they were all men, fathers, forefathers, great-fathers, and sons and grandsons. When I came to my name, and I picked up a pen and drew a line and wrote Malala. And he was staring at me like with a grimace on his face. That was what this crazy man is doing. Putting a gun name on a family tree, I just smiled because I meant it. I think that entry was the first thing which I did. Because I meant it that Malala is an individual. She will have an identity. And I named her after the Malala of Melbourne, who was a legendary Afghan hero, who raised her voice against the British Army, and she motivated the Afghan fighters to fight back for their freedom. She was my ideal. She was my ideal because not she was a gun warrior, because she was my ideal because she raised her voice. She was my inspiration. And I must tell you that this is not an easy task. It's quite difficult. I mean, especially in patriarchy. Dr. Parvez Ziauddin Yousafzai, welcome, sir. Thank you. I always tell people that when you stand for a change, the first person you fight against is you yourself. The first person. I want to repeat this line. When you stand for a change that you believe in, the first person that comes in your way is you yourself. And what I mean is that it was also difficult for me to go against the social norms. It was also difficult for me to encourage my wife to be active in society. She is here, and I tell people that her freedom empowered me, because she used to take children to school. I encouraged her to take children to the hospital. She did her shopping, and she's fond of shopping a lot. And even she had no education, but still she was on the board of an orphanage. So her freedom empowered me. But it was a difficult job for me as well. It was a difficult in the sense that when the people in society, when you do these things, like you empower women, you want to encourage them to be in mainstream social life, political life, you are snubbed. People talk ill about you. They sometimes call you a coward person who goes against the social values of the society. But I believe that any social value that goes against the best human rights should be abolished. I remember that in the beginning of, when I started schooling, we were in Mendora. It was very difficult for me to go side by side with my wife in the bazaar. Dr. Saab can feel my feeling that how sometimes it's difficult that in a village where there are separate ways for men and ladies, like ladies have separate pathways hidden from men. Not to be seen, I mean, so even walking for a villager, for a village person, for a village man, walking side by side with his wife is quite like embarrassing. My own nephew, one day he told Torpeke that, look, Malala is now 13, 14 years old, and she comes on television and she goes to seminars and conferences, and then the boys in the class in my college, they talk ill of our family and they say, you have become so westernized and liberal and you don't care about the Pashtunwali. And I told my wife, they tell him that he should not put his nose in our family affairs. And now my dead nephew is a big fan of Malala. So change comes. But the most important thing is how much I believe in it and you believe in it. So the first person I fought and the first person I stood against was me myself. Because first you have to convince yourself about the change you want to bring in the society. And you know that, as I told you that, I mean, this is not a discussion that we said that girls' education is important. I think it's like saying that clean water is good or sun is good. I mean, this is something agreed upon. But how to do it, that's important. So we have been to many countries like Nigeria, Kenya, Lebanon, to help Syrian refugees, to meet girls, refugee girls and boys. And really, I'm always impressed by the passion of the girls for education. We were in Kenya in a school, and in Kenya, primary education is free, and after primary, if the people are rich and they can pay for education, they can receive further education. Otherwise, it is stopped here. And in this school, when I noticed that all girls have shaven their hair, and I asked the principal that why no girl has hair. And the principal told me that this is the first generation who are getting secondary education. And when we asked them that what kind of hair and what kind of you want to have, and they said that combing hair and making them up, it wastes a lot of our time. And we want to be free from this thing. That's why. I mean, this is, for some people it may look weird, but this is what, these were those girls' passion. We went to Dadaab camp and we met a girl, her name was Rahma Hussain. A Rahma Hussain family, she went back to Somalia with her family, and there she found that there is no school in the area where her family started living. And then she realized that soon his parents are going to marry her. And she was very young, like a child. And what she did, she had a friendship on Facebook with a Canadian person, a university student. And she asked her that, I don't want to stop my education, I want to continue it. And that Canadian guy sent some money to her. And she rode on a bus, she took a bus and she traveled for 8 days on a bus. And she came back to this Dadaab camp, back to continue her school. Few weeks ago, I heard about the story of a girl from Bangalore, from Swarthville. This girl name is Tyra. And Tyra's mother, she was working, and she's still working in a well-off family, in a rich family, like helping them and they do their things. And this girl used to go with her mom. And she told her mom that if I can have a laptop, and that family gave a laptop to the girl, and she was so smart that she did a diploma, and she developed her own software programs. Can you believe it? I mean, such amazing does. Now she will be coming to Frankfurt to Girl 20 conference, and she will be giving a keynote speech, and I will be introducing her. So I want to wind up my talk, but sometimes Rebecca asks to use talks, and she says that this is her quote. The difference in a boy and a girl is that we have given pen to the boys and we have not given pen to the girls. This is so simple. If we give both of them education, that means we will have equality in our society. And just to wind up with, usually daughters refer to their father's quotes and sayings. Like we quote Malala, that one teacher, one child, one pen, and one book can change the world. Thank you very much.
I'd just like to open the floor for questions now. So if you'd like to have a show of hands.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your talk, sir. I really appreciate that, and I think that's the only thing that brings us all here is to start or to carry on the social change we all need against these values and these principles, these social norms which shackle our societies. But to be honest with you, looking at the title of the conference, I still believe that we are still thinking from within the ideology that we have to fight against. Because look at the title: the role education, the importance of education for girls and women, and the roles of the father. Here there are two levels. The first level is that we are giving the father, the patriarchal system, the authority to provide education. The second thing, which is for me worse, is that we are providing a normal society, say like a family is father, mother, and children. However, yesterday we attended a talk about LGBTQ, and there are families without fathers. There are families monoparental. There are families without parents at all. So here we are still inside the same ideology which produces oppression. And against this ideology we need to fight. We need to empower families, not only fathers, to give the right for children, be it a girl or a boy, to go to the school. We need to fight against the patriarchal society which disabled any marginalized group to access to resources and to their rights. We need to fight against whatever source of oppression, not only legitimizing that oppression in the sense that we need to do change from within the system. I'm sorry, we cannot change the system from within the system. we can only legitimize the system in that way. We need to revolt against that system. Be it, if we also need to revolt against, and between parentheses, religious values, because they only reproduce an oppressed society and culture. And thank you.
I appreciate your comment and I agree with it. This is like, you might have watched the film which has been documented in our family. Has anyone watched the film? No, so its name is, it's not being what is said. He named me Malala. He named me Malala. If you watch this documentary, so the video maker asks me, it's his question, do you know the person who attacked your daughter? And my response is, it was not a person, it was an ideology. I totally agree with you that it's the ideology which is patriarchy together with narrow religious thinking. They stop women not to be educated, not to be empowered. And sometimes I feel that why Taliban attacked a 15 or 14 years old girl? I mean, the people who have suicidal attackers, who have heavy weaponry, why should they be scared of a girl voice? Just 15 years old girl. The reason is that they feel very weak in their ideology, an argument against women empowerment. So when they are unable to answer an argument to their voice, they think better to silence it, to make it silent forever. So you are very right, we should have a system that helps girls and boys. I mean, when I just talked about a girl, Tahira, her father died just a year after she was born. She's a fatherless child. But I mean, this is the state of Pashtun society, that the family, the way of family, who's being helped by her mother, now that family helped her. So we have great values as well. I mean, but how to build on those good values? How to build on the bright side of our faith, and to reach to everyone? Thank you. It will be a very difficult question. I'm joking.
It's not a question, it simply adds on to what you said.
Okay.
But first, let me salute your exemplary courage. There's such few people like you and your family. It's highly, highly unusual. And this is in a country where the majority of people, even today, think that the shooting of Malala was actually faked, and that it is a conspiracy of the Jewish and the Christian world to defame Islam. On the other hand, they're perfectly willing to overlook a document that was widely circulated just days after the shooting of Malala, which says 5 reasons why we attacked Malala. And this was signed by the Islamic movement of Uzbekistan and the Pakistani Taliban. The first reason that was given over there was that Malala was not 14 years old when she was attacked, she was 15. And she had shown signs of puberty. And a woman, and hence was a woman, and a woman can be killed if she does the wrong thing. And in fact, it gives instances, whether rightly or wrongly, of the Holy Prophet himself ordering the killing of women. These are things, of course, you must not talk about, but these are facts. And the sad thing is that today we are no further on the road to social progress than when the shooting happened. Today the heroine of Pakistan is not Malala Yousafzai. It is Afia Siddiqui, who was a member of Al-Qaeda, was radicalized while she was in the West, and today is serving an 80-year sentence in an American prison. People know of her and think of her as being the genuine freedom fighter. It's just heartbreaking. And this is why really your struggle is so important for us.
Thanks.
Hello, thank you so much for your talk. I'm speaking for everyone in the room. I think we admire you, both of you, and your daughter a lot. My question is, I understand why Malala and why yourselves are so important for society, but especially for women. My question is how to make men as well as mindful as you are. Because Malala's words reaches everyone, and your words reach everyone. But I can feel how women are more power with them, and men realize the importance, but sometimes feel this is a women's fight, but it's not. It's everyone's fight. So how do you think we should, as a woman, empower more even men to fight for us? Because this is everyone's fight.
Yes, it's a good question. First of all, I think that you, Torpeke, you and all women in the world, you should not wait for men. Okay? Believe me, when I look at the behavior of some men, when it comes to women's rights, and I say to them that there is a talib in the head of every third, fourth man in patriarchal society, they might have not picked up the guns, but the mindset is the same. But the change is coming, and it's very difficult to start. We have to reach to men through awareness programs, through changing our curriculum. The men who are old now, it becomes quite difficult to change them. But at least in countries like Pakistan, in Afghanistan, in India, we should introduce lessons, and we should add to the value of our curriculum, where boys learn to respect the rights of their sisters. And where they learn that it is not honor to kill a sister in the name of honor killing. In the name of honor, rather, the real honor is to respect the equality and freedom of your sisters. So, and people ask me usually that what special I did in the mentorship of my daughter to train her to be so poised and eloquent. And I respond to them that don't ask me what I did. Rather ask me what I did not do. I did not clip her wings. So the only thing girls need is an education. And I must tell you that education for girls, it is not just simply to be skillful and to have some basic knowledge about mathematics or computer science or anything else. It is emancipation for them in the patriarchal societies. It gives them freedom. It gives them freedom. So we are working for it, and because in my life I saw men in my close family members who were very much against girls' education, women empowerment, but now I see them, they are very happy, they are changing. Think of Torpeke, when she appears on the television, her brother is not embarrassed. He feels proud to be the brother of Torpeke. So, we see this change, and I think usually I agree to a great extent with Dr. Saab, but my perspective is a bit different, because we receive a lot of encouragement from Pakistan as well. The problem is that the negative comments are the people who stand against Malala's values. And Alia told me last night that Malala is an ideology. She is an ideology herself. So who stand against that ideology, there may be few, but they are very active. They are very active. Head is always very active, very prominent, unfortunately. But there are people who are supportive. And I see tears in their eyes when they meet us. They want to change as well. So change will come. What will sing, spring will come. Thank you.
Do you have more questions?
Thank you so much for your courage and your family's courage, and for that is an amazing love story and the romance. Thanks for sharing a lot of that. I think that's something that I'll definitely remember. And I was wondering, we're at a point where the examples that have been set, do you feel that there's anything, we come from a lot of different countries, we come from a lot of different backgrounds, but as individuals, what can we do to help catalyze to speed things up? How do we keep the young women safe, who we are trying to, I know that in China, a while back, they clipped the wings of young women.
I have also clipped the wings of both men and women.
Yes.
Sorry to say it in many respects. It's okay.
Yes, that's definitely. What do you see as a good thing we can do on a day-to-day basis?
I think, as I told in my talk, the most important thing that first we all should know that what kind of change we want in our society, in our communities. And once you are convinced with that change you want to see, as Gandhi said once, that be the change that you want to see. So that's the most important part. And the second, then I say two things to it. Like first you should have the passion for that change. The passion to bring that change, to work for it. And there are many platforms, many ways. But I must tell that when you believe in something, you find many ways to reach to it. Like when I started school in Swat Valley, boys and girls school, and my brother, he told me that, what are you doing? There are many schools, private schools, and you should be a senior, you should go to senior civil services, you should be a deputy commissioner or some police officer, because he just was thinking of increasing family power, right? To have someone individual in the family to be a powerful, like a commissioner or a police officer. And he was discouraging me not to run that school, believe me. But I was believing in that school, and I told him that, look, I may not be able to convince you, but if I'm able to produce few genuine leaders from this school, that's it. So, there are many ways to do on social media, writing a blog, sit with somebody and talking to them. But the most important thing is to have that passion. And then the second most important thing is passions. One is P-A-S-S-I-O-N and the second is P-A-T-I-E-N-C-E. Passions, to see it. Because sometimes we are very impassioned. We say, oh, it should happen now. If I start struggling in the morning, the change should come in the evening. It simply doesn't happen. It takes a long time. It needs perseverance, resilience, a persistent, consistent struggle. You will see people will rebuke you, they will talk ill of you, they will ignore you sometimes. But finally you will. Thank you.
Any more questions?
for sharing your story. I watched your documentary and the story is just amazing.
This is good, I find someone who will watch the documentary. Thank you.
I just have to say, all the keynote speakers that we've had so far are people that have put themselves in danger for a cause. And I can't speak for everyone in this room, but I'll speak for myself, who comes from North America. We've lived a life of safety, I feel. We've never lived in war. We've never had threats on our lives. And I can't get over that people like yourselves are so courageous to stand up for a cause, put your life at risk and your family. And I just wonder, how do you do that? How do you come to a point where you're willing to rock the boat by standing side by side with your wife on a street when all of society looks at you and you know that you're putting yourself maybe at risk, and then for your daughter to come forward, be so courageous, you support her, and she gets shot, which would be our biggest nightmare for our family. But you don't stop, you keep going, which is amazing to me. So how do you do that?
I think there is no other option to be honest. Like we were in Swat Valley and we saw this Talibanization. And I mean, there are lanes, fertile lanes for some ideologies, and patriarchy is very fertile lane for those kind of code of Islam which Taliban people have. And those were very difficult days, like they bombed more than 400 schools. They used to target people, they did target killing. They also used to bring people from the families. They used to knock at their door, bring them out, and took the male member and just make them stand in the square of the town, and they used to shoot them. In that difficult time, I mean, as Malala said, that I had two options: whether to speak and kill, or to be silent and kill. And she said that I chose the first one.